In this video, we're taking a look at a new and also pretty well-known loadout for Khora that has you have infinite energy, crowd control, and double your loot at the same time.
Yeah. Shawty loves it, loves that I'm a dog. They don't want it, they scared of what I know. Told you the budget, I gotta get my own. Shout out my bros, this right here deserves a toast, A lot of people back home on my back and they know.
What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new Warframe video coming at you with an updated Khora build. So, as some of you may know, my recent Khora loadout with parasitic armor was nerfed. Yikes. Well, not the build, but the interaction got nerfed. Because, apparently it's too powerful, right? Good lord. Anyway, the loadout I'm about to show you can have your Khora spam her abilities with ease, also Rivenless, doesn't need Nourish, and wait for it, no need for Arcane Energize. That's how clean it is. So a buddy and stream team member of mine, you may know him as Asian Invasion, released a Khora video just recently using Liketh's Hunt, and I thought that was interesting. So I told myself, I need to update my Khora loadout, but I wanted more out of it, making it versatile. So that's when I tested the limits of this ability and got something juicy working for you. First, let's explain the ability, Liketh's Hunt. This is an active ability that has two functions. Enemies killed by headshot drop energy orbs, and melee drop health orbs, both at a 50% rate per kill. These health orbs can be used passively for healing, but can be converted to energy with the mod Equilibrium. But there's a problem. You can't pick up health orbs if you're full HP, and that's where Synth Fiber comes into play. As long as your companion has this mod equipped, you can pick up health orbs, and they get converted into energy thanks to Equilibrium. You can prolong the duration of Liketh's Hunt if you kill enemies affected by 5 or more status effects, easily done with a utility weapon priming the enemies. I did a simple 20-minute survival in Steel Path without ever recasting this ability. Okay, going back to converting health to energy, there is something pretty insane. Khora has Venari, which is a passive exalted Kavat that can be modded, while you can take another Kavat as your equipped companion. This means you have 2 synth fibers and 2 animal instincts and 2 fetches. And on top of that, if you use a Panzer Vulpaphyla with viral quills and synth deconstruct, you have additional health orbs dropping. This is where it gets even crazier. Pilfering Strangledome, Khora's 4th ability Augment, has a 65% chance for the enemies captured in her dome to drop bonus loot. This bonus loot takes into account energy and health drops, along with other miscellaneous items. So, what is Khora all about? Khora is all about crowd controlling, defending her teammates, providing loot, and she is an ability DPS Warframe that uses her first ability for damage. Whipclaw is a Pseudo Exalted weapon, which is different from an Exalted. Exalted weapons are abilities that can be modded, like what Excalibur, Mesa, and Avara have. These abilities scale from Warframe equipped mods, Warframe Arcanes, and their own upgradable menu. A Pseudo Exalted is similar, but it will use mods from your equipped weapon and the Warframe's mods and arcanes. They also have their own unique perks, stats, functions, and they scale differently. Khora's Whipclaw has 25% crit chance, 2 times critical multiplier, and 20% status chance, which is different from other Pseudo Exalteds. You can mod her Whipclaw with Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds, and it will take her crit and status chance over 100%. Her Whipclaw deals 3 physical damage types. Also, the damage is distributed between the 3. Take note that the critical hits and status application will proc on each enemy separately, potentially inflicting them with a variety of different damage and status effect values. Meaning, some enemies will get an orange crit and others red, while some get slash procced and others your modded element or even impact. So now that you know how the ability requires an external source to mod it so it can emulate how an exalted weapon works. Meaning, we now need a stat stick. I know I've explained stat sticks a billion times over, but there are fresh faces coming into this game, and they also need to learn. Alright folks, listen up. A stat stick is an empty vessel where you can equip mods to directly affect the damage output of your Warframe's ability. This is only for Pseudo Exalted weapons, meaning the weapon stats do not matter, just the mods. Because remember, you are modding the ability externally, rather than the equipped melee weapon. Basically, any weapon works, except combo pausing melees, as those will reset your combo count buildup. so avoid the Zorus or the Tenant Livia and Grigori as stat sticks. And you may ask, why is combo important? Because all Pseudo Exalted weapons scale off of combo counter, giving them a 3.75 times final damage multiplier at max combo, and a 4 times final damage multiplier if you were to use the Venka Prime, as it goes to 13 times combo. However, that's a small increase, and that combo gain increase to 13 times will not have Blood Rush or Weeping Wounds go any further. And the only time where a specific melee weapon will matter is when you have or are going for a Riven, or are going for a weapon with unique effects and passives that can boost Khora's Whipclaw damage. The reason Rivens are useful is because they are mods and count towards the damage output on Pseudo Exalted weapons. Khora's Whipclaw is the most versatile and deadliest of all Pseudo Exalteds, as it can do 2 times more damage on ensnared enemies, and she also has her first ability Augment, giving her a 350% base damage multiplier. So if you were to use the Augment, you won't need power strength, so building for more power alongside the Augment is redundant, as they do the same thing, and you're going to end up wasting mod slots for something that is done with one mod. So you're better off outsourcing your multipliers from other items in your arsenal. Also guys, did you think I was going to give you just one loadout? Oh no, I got another one. This one is more for team-oriented gameplay when you're farming in Steel Path, because not only does it provide bonus loot, this build gives energy to everyone. The Helminth on this loadout is Spectral Rage from Gara. This is a crowd-controlling ability that draws enemy fire, just like your Strangledome, but I'll be using it with its Augment, Spectral Siphon. Enemies killed within the rotating mirrors have a 50% chance to drop energy orbs, and these orbs are for everyone. Alright, now that you know what we're working with, let's take a look at the builds for both loadouts. As you can see from my Archon shards, I do have 2 Azure blue shards to give me energy maximum, and the last 3 can be whatever you want. Personally, I would say if you want better casting speed with your Strangledome, I would put 2 yellow shards, so it just feels so much better and fluid. Otherwise, if you want more damage, the 3 red shards for that crit damage. Why am I using these 2 blue shards, you may ask? It's because I'm not even using primed flow on any of these builds. Alright, starting off in the Aura with Brief Respite to convert energy spent into shields. This build will have base efficiency, and we'll have this mod with Augur mods on our Warframe and secondary. So with 1 cast of the Dome, we replenish our shields, or even 2 casts with the Whip. And in the X-List, of course, Prime Surefooted, because spending less time on your butt is a huge DPS increase. Our range is going to be max with Stretch, Augur Reach, and Overextended. Power Strength isn't an issue on this build. Now you may be asking, why so much range if her Whipclaw caps out in 10 meters? No, that's the explosion range. When your whip reaches out and hits enemies, it explodes within a 10-meter radius. However, everything else scales even more with range. The Whipclaw's reach, ensnares reach, and her Strangledome's radius and grab radius also is affected by range. Not only that, we're getting Augur Reach here, just for that additional energy to shield conversion. Now, duration at 155% with primed continuity. This gives us a nice uptime on the Strangledome. And for defenses, we are going to be using Rolling Guard. Dodge roll, get 3 seconds of invulnerability, and cleanses you of status effects. For our damage on Whipclaw, I'm going to be using Accumulating Whipclaw. This gives us 350% base damage with each consecutive hit on enemies. And for bonus loot, I do have Pilfering Strangledome. Enemies killed within the dome gets us that bonus loot. Very useful. Now, to convert health orbs into energy and vice versa, I do have Equilibrium. We pair this up with the Synth Fiber mods on both of our companions. For the Arcanes, we do have Arcane Fury, giving us that base damage on our melees when we crit. Oh boy, we're going to be critting 100% of the time. And the last Arcane, we don't need Arcane Energize, so I decided for a bit more of a utility Arcane. But you can run whatever you want over here. Arcane Eruption for that extra added crowd control. Pick up an energy orb and knock down enemies within a 30-meter radius. Free money. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Lyceth's Hunt build. Very simple, straightforward, so brain dead, don't have to worry about energy. But when we go to the Spectral Rage build, it's going to baffle your mind how it works because we just changed one mod. Taking a look at the Spectral Rage build, as you noticed, we lost some range. Oh, what happened here? We literally just removed Augur Reach, and that's it, that's the build. I replaced Augur Reach with the Spectral Siphon Augment. That's literally it. The build is pretty much the same, all I had to do was replace one mod. So it's up to you which one you want to choose. The solo loadout with like its hunt or the team-oriented version of the build. Before we get to the stat stick build, let me show you how to maintain your combo duration. First method is to have both primary and secondary dexterity arcanes on your guns. I mean, you're not going to be killing enemies with your guns. They're just there for utility. Both of these arcanes equipped on your guns will give you 20 seconds of combo duration. And for some additional flexibility, if you somehow are in a mission with a lot of downtime, like interception, defense, where enemies take 1 year to spawn. DE, what's up with that? Come on. You can use the Naramon Focus School with the Power Spike node, so your combo doesn't fully disappear and decays slowly. And now your stat stick. As I said, do not use the Zorus or the Gregorian Livia, or else you lose combo buildup. And if you ask why you're not doing damage, well, for one, max your mods and arcanes, 2, build up your augment damage, and lastly, combo counter. I will show you a Rivenless stat stick build. I usually build for Slash on Khora because it is one of the loadouts that scales higher, deals slash damage, and proc bleeds. However, I will show you other variations as well. So, get your melee weapon, and remember, the stance doesn't matter for a stat stick build, so you save up on a Forma. Prime Pressure Point for the melee base damage, Blood Rush for the crit chance when you build up combo. With this mod alone, you get 135% crit chance at 12 times combo. Now that we're critting 100% of the time, we multiply the damage our crits deal with Organ Shatter and Gladiator Might for that critical damage increase. And since I have the Gladiator Scent bonus with Gladiator Might, my crit chance goes up to 162.6%. That means we have 62% chance to hit orange crits, which further increases our damage. To boost my slash proc bias and weighting, along with status chance, I have Buzzkill and Carnus Mandible for the slash damage increase, and add Weeping Wounds to further boost my status chance. I will have a total of 120% status chance and a 3.1 times bonus slash damage weighting. Now the last mod can be whatever bonus you want to add, meaning your Riven, but since this is a Rivenless build, you have 2 options. More crit chance with Sacrificial Steel to bring it up to 272.6% crit chance, meaning more consistent oranges with a splash of red. Or you can add Spoiled Strike for more base damage, which also boosts your slash damage and DOT. If you're fighting against Corpus, just replace the 2 slash mods for 2 Toxin mods, as Toxin bypasses shields, so it just makes a joke out of the Corpus. For raw corrosive damage, replace the Toxin 60/60 for Shocking Touch and remove Weeping Wounds for Spoiled Strike, which is a well-rounded build for pretty much anything, and one-shots Acolytes if they're ensnared. And against Infested, replace the Electric and Spoiled Strike mod for Heat and Weeping Wounds. Now you have Gas Damage, a nice additional AoE that shreds the Infested. Alright, now that you've seen how the stat stick is built, there'll be some of you who want to go for a Riven and are looking to min-max. Here are free negatives to have on your stat stick Riven, meaning negative effects that won't even phase your damage on Whipclaw. And negatives are needed on Rivens to greatly increase your positive attributes. So if you want, it is safe to have negative faction damage multipliers. They don't affect Pseudo Exalted weapons, status duration, attack speed, range, finisher damage, crit chance on slide, and impact or puncture. Main stats you want to have on your Riven are crit damage and damage, with a negative. These stats are more for a universal Riven. You can have 3 positives, with crit chance or slash as the 3rd stat. Electric and Heat are fine as well for copium, less optimal loadouts. Since Khora's Whipclaw will hit over 100% crit chance, it is best to multiply the damage your crits deal. Hence why you always want to have crit damage on that Riven. Anything that isn't within those negatives, avoid like the plague. Okay, now we're going to be taking a look at our companion builds. We have 2 companions, Venari and our Panzer Vulpaphyla. As you may notice, I replaced Venari with the Helminth ability, but that doesn't remove Venari because Venari is an exalted pet, pretty much a passive, and it is still moddable. The build, pretty straightforward. Fetch, of course, you know, for the loot. Pack leader, we are a melee Warframe, so damaging enemies with your Whipclaw pretty much heals your pets. And we have Synth Fiber and Synth Deconstruct. Your Venari will particularly jump around and hit enemies, so, you know, why not have Synth Deconstruct in there? But the most important part here is Synth Fiber, because it allows us to pick up health orbs even though we are full HP. And this also gives some armor to your companion. Why not? Onto the Panzer Volpophyla. The mutagens do not matter. Do whatever you want. I don't know where it went. Let's take a look at the build. Again, pretty much the same build. However, we do have some few different mods because it's a different type of companion. Pack leader, pretty much the same. Animal instincts, there. Synth Deconstruct and Synth Fiber. Perfect. The great thing about the Panzer is that Synth Deconstruct is a lot easier to proc because it squirts out a viral. I know that sounded weird, but that's what the pet does. It squirts a viral all over enemies, and that counts as an assist. Now, because we're using brief respite, I do have to remind you to always equip that Decaying Dragon Key, lowering your shield value. Because a reminder, the lower the shield pull is, the quicker it is to recharge. Now, for the utility weapons that hold the dexterity mods, literally whatever you want. But for my primer to keep up the Like It's Hunt is the usual epitaph. However, slightly different because we're going to be using it with the Augur set. Augur Pact and Augur Seeker. Otherwise, the build is pretty much the usual epitaph build. And, of course, right there, dexterity. Alright folks, that has been it from this video. I do hope you've enjoyed and learned something from this video. And if you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.